Morning.
Check, check.
This is 11, right?
10:59. I think we're good now. All right, Coach. Well, how many games did that feel like on Saturday night? I know it was 60 minutes, 79 points, over 1,000 yards of offense, but did it feel like about 3 or 4 different games for you?
Yeah, especially the last 4 minutes. You know, it was up and down. Great football game, you know, and really proud of our kids and our staff to, you know, hang in there, keep competing through all the ups and downs. We always talk about ebbs and flows of football games, on how that goes, and it was never more evident than the other night. But really proud of the team, the focus that they kept through. You know, it's a long trip over there, you know, a day ahead of time, and to keep the focus and continuing to believe and keep playing, keep competing, and you know, it was nice to come away with a win.
What does that do for your team to be in that situation? Because you've had other opportunities like that this year where it was almost there. And in this case, everything that went wrong, everything you had to overcome, found a way to finish, which I've heard you say a few times. So what do you think that means moving forward to have that experience to prove to themselves they can do it?
I think any experience is good that way. You know, you know, but I don't think it's any different than, you know, when you look at the outcome was different, yes, but the competitive level and the want to and the effort has been there all the time. So I never doubt that about our team. It was just nice to see it go our way, you know. But I think all along our kids always compete hard all the way down the stretch. And, you know, we've had some tough breaks throughout the season that way. But it was nice to see them be rewarded with a W. You know, when you play that hard and it gets a really good football team over there, all the ups and downs, to come away with a win is very rewarding.
And we've talked a lot this year about the young talent on your team and how many freshmen have been playing. You've got the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week now as a true freshman who had 2 tackles all year before making his first start and getting 9 and a pick, Evan Williams. And with Jalen Cropper, it seems like every game there's been a little more put on his shoulders. Is that by design, that you're testing it out to give a little more responsibility to these freshmen game in, game out? And what told you could trust those two in particular that much on Saturday?
Well, it depends on who you're playing, really. You know, Evan's role obviously was a lot more because of all the passing that was going on with Hawaii's offense. But he showed up, played well. You know, and he's had times throughout the season where he's played, but I thought, you know, it was a little more evident that he had probably a little bit more confidence and understand the speed of the game, which is a natural progression for freshmen. You know, games are so much different than practice. And so, you know, we got a lot of young guys playing in a lot of different places. And so I think each week, I mean, that's a natural progression they learn through experience. And each week it's a different experience, you know, playing playing one team versus another team, you're going to have different challenges. And so, we have guys all over the field doing that, and that's how you grow.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, in looking at Utah State, what can you tell us about a team that has had a 500 season but is coming off 2 blowout losses?
Really good football team, as we're getting into them today, understanding that, they played Air Force, and Air Force has really kind of shown to be able to do that to most people. So you got to kind of throw that one out the book, and BYU is a really good football team. But they've also had some big wins, beating San Diego State, Colorado State, Nevada. They played Wake Forest really tough in the beginning of the year. They're a quality football team all the way around, have a great quarterback who's in the top 3 in a lot of categories in the conference, total offense and passing. And so a lot of talent on their team, and very well coached. And so we're going to have our hands full. We're getting into them today, a little bit last night and a little bit this morning. But it shows up that they're a talented football team.
They do turn the ball over a lot. I think they're negative in that category in turnover margin this season. Any areas where you think that you guys might be able to attack or exploit?
Again, it's still a little early as we're getting into game planning and things like that, and haven't seen all their turnovers or where they come from or what have you. But each week's different on different games. They've played a tough schedule too. Wake Forest is a good team. They played LSU, so they've played a very difficult schedule as well. So I can't tell you right now why the turnovers or anything like that. It's still a little early to know. But again, every week's different. From week to week, they probably have a few in some games and none in others. So it just depends who you're playing and what the circumstances of the games are.
You said after the Hawaii game that you were proud of Silva for obviously putting it through the uprights and winning that game. With him missing 2 field goals earlier in the game, I know he made another one in the second half, but any hesitation there with running him out with the game on the line?
No, not at all. Again, he's hit every ball solid this year except a few weeks ago, the 51 or 52-yarder. They didn't hit solid. The one early in the game, he pushed just a little bit. And then the second one, it's a 56-yarder. I don't know that you can hold the 56-yarder against him at the end of the half. But he did make one, and he was confident. We have confidence in him. And, that was the plan at that point with that much time on the clock, was to run the ball and get down and be able to line up for a field goal. And it's not just him, too. He's the one who kicks it, obviously, but the snap was great, the hold was great. But it was nice to see for him and for his confidence and for the team to come through at a time like that, because we really haven't had that opportunity this year to have the game on the line with a field goal like that. And so it was nice to see him drill it.
Coach, on that 56-yarder, was there any concern they might put a returner back there and try to do what you did to them last year?
Yeah. Yeah, but they didn't. We covered it. We covered it on the sideline, that we knew. We practice that every week of if somebody does that to us, that you've got to make sure you cover. So, but, yeah, it was a little hesitant, but the half was over. It's the only thing we could do, and the air was a little heavy. He made a 56-yarder in practice here the other day, but it's a little humid, and the air's a little heavier there, and thought he hit it good, but it's a lot to be asking a kicker to kick a 56-yard field goal in those conditions.
When it comes to Utah State and their defense, what are some of the staples you see from that unit, schematically, talent-wise?
They play really, really hard. They have good players. They play really hard, very disciplined, very well-coached team. Again, really just kind of diving into it today, but they're a well-coached team. Tough, hard-nosed group. Take a lot of pride in what they're doing, and make you earn everything that you get.
With Jalen Cropper, what do you think it is about him that's allowed him to make some of the big plays that he's made already this season as a freshman?
He's a gifted kid. It doesn't, the game doesn't move too fast for him. He plays at a high level. He plays fast. Very strong competitor, and I think each week, he just continues to learn, like all the young guys out there. You could take, they're full of them at that position. You got Amori Edwards, you got Glaspie, you got Wheatfall when he was healthy. Every week, we're so young at certain positions. Offensive line, some guys in the secondary, linebackers. They're each week though is a learning experience for everybody. But Jalen plays very fast, and Coach Moore does a nice job of coaching him to understand what we're doing offensively. So that he's got his assignments down and knows what's going on.
Is there any update on Matt Smith and how he's doing?
Yeah, Matt's going to be out for the year. He broke his fibula, so that was very unfortunate. In the first half, broke his fibula, and he's not only been a good player for us, but he's been a real team leader for us. He's an emotional leader for our team. One of the guys that's probably one of the most respected guys on our football team, and so he'll be missed not just as a player, but as a person. I'm sure he'll be around and continue to provide emotional support for the team and things like that. But he's a great young man. It's always hard to see anybody go down like that.
I know Matt had filled in for Mooty's team captain spot. Do you address that? Do you have someone else fill in going forward?
I'll think about that as the week goes on here.
And with Tyrone filling in for him, what was the evaluation on his play?
He did fine. Again, young guy, and but he's been getting better every week in practice, and did a good job filling in. He came in there early, and played the whole second half, and did a good job. It's like anybody. Nobody plays perfect. Everybody's gonna have their times where they make a mistake here or there, but that's how we learn. And but it was nice to see him get in and get some game reps. Because obviously in practice, like I said, practice is different than games. But it was nice to see him get in there and compete.
Coach Grubb had told me that Tyrone's he felt like come along over the last month or so. What have you seen from him, and how critical is that timing considering what's in front of him now?
Yeah, he has, and I think part of that was because he was battling through some injury through the summer and camp, and so now that I think he's more 100%. He's been improving because when you're fighting through injury, you're not at your best every day, and so I think he's closer to 100% now, and obviously now it's his turn.
Is there any update on Dante as well?
Not yet. Not yet. With every day to day with all the guys that are injured. This time of year, there's so many guys that are banged up, with whatever it may be, and then through the week, you're never even completely 100% through the week, because through practice things happen, because you have to practice hard to be able to play in the game. And so this time of year, you try to tone it back a little bit because we've been doing it for so long, but still at any given time, you can have something happen in practice, so, but every day is a new day to see how people are feeling.
Seems like the O-line has been more consistent the last few weeks compared to the beginning of the season, despite being down 3 starters now. Just what do you think it says about that group and how they've been able to overcome that?
I don't know. I think Coach Grubb and Coach Sapolu do a good job of making sure that we rep guys. There's different combinations that we have to work every single week because you never know what's going to happen in a game. And so it's important to get guys reps at certain positions, not just one position. You have to have a tackle go to guard and somebody play center, and because you have to be prepared for anything that goes on in a game. And so, the different combinations, we've had quite a few of them. And I think the offensive line coaches have done a nice job of making sure guys are prepared and ready to go. And Akambulu, I thought, filled in admirably for Dante, in his first go. And so, practice is really important. He gets a lot of reps in practice, but it's the guys who can carry it over from practice to the game field is what's important.
How proud were you of your coaching staff after this win? Because we saw on both sides of the ball things we hadn't seen yet this year, and we also saw you turn around a 10-point halftime deficit. So I would imagine there's a pretty significant influence of coaching throughout that. What did that do for you guys as a staff?
Yeah, I thought the staff did a great job, and not just through the X's and O's piece, of football. Because when you travel there on a Thursday, there's a lot of meetings. Because you want to keep the kids occupied and busy, and so there's a lot of meetings that go on and a lot of organization that goes on and those type of things. And so I told the team yesterday that I was proud of the way that they traveled, proud of the way that they kept their focus through 2 days there, and went into the game very focused. But that doesn't happen alone. The coaches have a lot to do with that as well. It's not just what you do on this play, but it's about the mindset of how you go into each meeting and how you show up on time and the mindset that you take into the game. So I thought the staff did a great job.
Hawaii's onside kick clearly was well executed by them with a little deception mixed in. They got the kind of bounce they were looking for. But what was going through your mind when the kick didn't get covered and they ended up with the ball?
Well, here we go. Got to play defense. Got to stop them. And, it was unfortunate, that because, we get that, the game's over. So put a little bit more stress than you'd like to have, obviously, with that. But it was a good kick, but it was something that we should come up with. And, we'll continue to work on. But there's game left, and that you got to continue to execute and continue to play. And, then they scored, and now I think there was 1:09 left. And I thought Jorge did a really nice job of running the 2-minute drill. Did a lot with his legs during that time because they were playing a lot of man coverage and spread all over the field and covering our guys down pretty well. And so Jorge, I thought, played a really good game as far as being able to use his legs and make key first downs and make big plays for us running with the football. And, so it was nice to be able to move the ball down the field and get in position to have the opportunity to kick the field goal.
Another thing that may have gotten lost in the shuffle a little bit was Jared Rice. And, he hasn't had the big games this year statistically like he had a year ago. But to see him such a big part of it in the fourth quarter, what does that mean for the team, to just have him be that involved and put some more stuff on tape for the rest of the conference to think about?
Yeah, well, he's always a part of what we're doing, whether the read says go there or not. He plays a lot for us, and not only does a good job, not only threaten the passing game, but I think the blocking, we've had success running the football the last couple of weeks, and he's a big part of that. When you're a tight end, you're as important as the offensive line is, and so maybe some of the things that don't stick out statistically, he still had an impact on the team.
Utah State, you mentioned some of their ups and downs, and what they're capable of. With the quarterback in particular, here's another Valley guy. You didn't have a chance to recruit him. You weren't here yet. But he's coming back to the Valley as a leader. They had a Heisman campaign for him early. But just as far as what you've seen of his ability, what stands out with the way he plays that position?
Well, he's very experienced. He's confident. He's accurate throwing the ball. Understands what he's doing. He's another one who can make plays with his legs. So anytime you have a veteran like that who's had that many reps and throw the ball like they do and run the offense that they run, there's a lot of experience, a lot of poise that comes from him. You could tell he's very, very comfortable in what he's doing. and has had a lot of success over the last couple of years. And so he's one of the best quarterbacks in our conference.
What's the impression you want to leave the Red Wave with here on a nice 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon start?
Well, it's as always, you know. We only really have a couple more times here at home, and you know, it'd be great to, you know, an early start, which is nice, and you know, so hopefully we can bring the energy, you know, to the stadium, because it always helps. And you know, our kids look forward to playing at home, and you know, so hopefully, you know, we can have a great crowd come out and support the kids, and be the Red Wave that we know, and create that energy that makes it difficult on the opponent.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's Coach Jeff Tedford. His Bulldogs coming off the big win at Hawaii, 41-38, host the Utah State Aggies Saturday, 4 o'clock at Bulldog Stadium. Win, and the Dogs create